Good morning, everyone. It's Carla. I wanted to show you something. I found a little treasure trove when I got a plastic baggie at the thrift store for 99 cents, and all I saw in it was a brown paper bag and these two sand dollar little cards. One has an actual sand dollar, and both of them tell the legend of the sand dollar, and I love that. It tells about the 5 points of the star, and it relates it to Jesus, and it's just a very sweet story. But whenever I opened the brown paper bag that's laying right here underneath it, I found a treasure trove of Alabama postcards. Now, I'm not from Alabama. I live here now with my husband, but he was from Alabama until he was 8. And that's kind of how we ended up back here. But I had never seen any postcards. We haven't really traveled around the state, but this was filled with them, and it's from Gulf Shores. It shows the Alabama state flower, the camellia, Alabama wildflowers. Here's some scenes from the Gulf Shore, the Gulf Coast, and I'm from Michigan, so I'm used to the Great Lakes being all around. You could go 15 minutes any direction from where you were at and you'd find a lake or a river. Down here it's not like that. You can find occasionally some lakes. There's a big lake called Smith Lake that was artificially made when Alabama Power dammed up the water so they could have a big power source. And so that's people enjoy that lake. But there's not a lot of lakes like I was used to, not a lot of rivers like I was used to, and you got to be very careful in the waters down here in the rivers because there's water moccasins. So yeah, I don't do the water thing too much, but I found these beautiful postcards, and it just amazed me because when I was a kid, if you traveled anywhere, took a Sunday ride or anything, postcards were cheap. They were like a dime or 15 cents, and your parents would give you a little bit of money and you'd buy a postcard and you'd save it. And I had some from Mackinac Island from years ago. I had some from the Detroit Historical Museum, the Art Institute in Detroit. Just anything. It was like a souvenir of places you had been. And I just wonder how many people actually collect these anymore. These are all brand new. They're not written on. And someone had bought these and saved them away, and then they ended up at the thrift store, and I found them. So here's some beautiful pictures. This is the state capitol of Alabama in Montgomery. Fort Morgan, I have no clue where that is. Must be down along the coast somewhere. Here's some more of the Gulf Shores. Orange Beach. This is a battleship or a carrier that was named the USS Alabama. This is the Alabama state flag, and this is a funny thing. In Michigan, the warning flag on the Great Lakes, when there's a storm warning or there's a ship down or something, they fly a flag that's white with a big red cross on it like this, a big red X rather. And when we came down here, it was July 3rd of 2008. We pulled into the Walmart parking lot at like 5 in the morning, and it was just getting ready to turn daylight, so it was still dark. And I looked up, and above the Walmart corners on each of the Walmart store in this town was this big flag flopping in the wind, because it was very windy when we pulled in. And it was this big X against a white background. And I told my husband, I said, there's a storm coming. Look at this thing. And he's like, I don't think that's a storm flag. And of course, he was 8 years old when he left Alabama, so he didn't know that it was actually the state flag. So every time we see this now, I say, yeah, there's a storm flag, you know, and we kind of laugh about it. This is fishing along a pier in Alabama. These are some sites. Vulcan Park, that's in Birmingham. Mobile, I haven't been there. That's down on the Gulf Coast. Nokalula Falls, never heard of that. The Ave Maria Grotto, that's over in Hanceville. That's where, if you ever watch TV and see the Catholic channel EWTN, that's where they broadcast out of Hanceville, Alabama, and that's only about 45 miles from where we live right now. This is funny. Of course, they have this in Michigan too on postcards. I've seen the Alabama state bird as a mosquito. But like I said, we lived in rural northern Michigan, and you got ate up by mosquitoes up there. when we moved down here, either mosquitoes don't like my blood or we're not in an area that is thick with mosquitoes, but I've never been bothered with mosquitoes since we've been down here, so that's been good. Here's a recipe for key lime pie out of the Gulf Coast. This is the governor's mansion in Montgomery, and that looks like it's a throwback to Civil War times or something, doesn't it? And then this is cute, Alabama from space. Now I know when I said we lived in Michigan, you could always tell Michigan on a shot from space from a satellite because it looks like a mitten, you know, so you can spot Michigan anywhere, but I really never thought about looking for Alabama from space. But yeah, it's just cute that there's all these postcards, and if any of you ever get a chance to get them, especially if you got kids and you're traveling with them, or you've got grandkids and you want to send them something from your travels, that would be fun to do. Just pick up a postcard, put their name on it, say love you, wish you were here, and jot them off a postcard. They would think that was big stuff to get from Grandma and Grandpa. And here's the little state map of Alabama, the Cotton State. So I hope you like seeing these, and I'd be curious if you leave it in a comment if any of you collect postcards or remember getting postcards from people traveling as a kid, or if that's something you yourself did. And now now that I've got all these, I'm going to try and figure out something to do with them, because they're too pretty to just stick in the brown paper bag like they were before. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for watching. And again, that is the state of Alabama. And we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.